What's up, y'all? It's your boy Sean P back again with another edition of Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. So this morning, um, we're just gonna do somewhat of a sum up of all the events that took place, particularly with Nicki Minaj, but Nicki Minaj versus Cardi B. But this is more of a sum up post. It's not going to be a reaction video this morning or even a review of just a social commentary on the state of YMCMB and the summer they've had. I mean, from the beginning of the summer with Lil Wayne dropping all the way to this Nicki Minaj crash out of all crash outs in this Cardi B beef. But really the point of this is just showing how these iconic artists, and we're gonna say Lil Wayne, Drake, Nicki Minaj, how this really is a full spiral out of control now. I mean, they're being unhinged on uh, uh, a level we've never seen before with A-list hip hop artists and iconic hip hop artists. And even though you won't really say, well, Drake was really crashing out or what have you, but he has had his real petty episodes with the beef, and we'll get to Drake. But really, I want to start with Nicki Minaj. So recently, this week we did a video with Ansem from BLG, Bootleg Gang, and also a man Reese, the funeral man from Torture Talk, Torture Chamber, of really the beef. And this is when it started with Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, which really, I mean, just to bring you up to speed, started with supposedly Nicki taking lyrics from a Cardi B record on her album that she prompted to say was subbing her. Nicki Minaj, not Nicki Minaj, but Cardi B actually came out and said that she was not subbing Nicki on this, on that song. But basically, she took that and used that as quote unquote bait or what have you, or got bait raged in that to go ahead and prompt this epic crash out on Cardi B, and it turned into a Twitter back and forth, an epic Twitter back and forth. Yeah, so Magnet was the name of the song that supposedly had some bars that was supposed to be about Nicki Minaj, but it turned out Cardi B said it was not. And of course, the barbs, and this is why I think this is social media fueled. The barbs really created this energy and came back to Nicki to kind of, start this real Twitter war with her. So they had a Twitter back and forth, and we talked about that in detail when it started. When in our previous review with Cardi B and Nicki or what have you. So go check that out. Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. It's the last video I just posted, so you can just check that out. But then it got kind of ugly. I'm not going to repeat the tweets that came out there, and it got really, really disgusting, in my opinion, where both were trading shots about their children's looks, about their children's, you know, if these children's had any disabilities or what have you. And by no means do I condone that. I think both of these women, in my opinion, went too far. They went beyond hip hop and beyond, really the decency of a traditional hip hop battle, from critiquing their looks to their images or what have you, to going into children's and family stuff. Obviously, both felt threatened, but I think Nicki Minaj felt threatened. And by no means I can condone what was done. And by no means I want to promote that. I think it was a really ugly look for hip hop overall. You know what I mean? And it's kind of the reason why I have my opinions about traditional, ratchet, female hip hop today, mainstream hip hop. I think it's unproductive. I think it's the worst form of hip hop. And I think it really um, is, it shows, it doesn't make women look good. It's not a good look for women. And by all means, I want to uplift all of our women, whether it's minorities, Latinos, Latinas, Black women, Asian women, whoever. You know what I mean? So this is a bad look for women and bad look for minority. When I want to come out and say that, you know, and a bad look for A-list artists who are supposed to be, and looked up as, for this generation, hip hop, iconic hip hop women. You want to say Cardi B is not the level of Nicki Minaj? I'll give you that, but she is an icon, definitely for Latina women. She is an icon, whether you like it or not. So I just want to get that out the way and say how ugly it got with the Twitter beef. But the whole synopsis of it is that I think that in the end of the day, when all is said and done, Cardi B basically stood her ground. And for every shot Nicki threw, she had a shot back that was more clever, more witty. And Nicki Minaj ended up apologizing, which I think was kind of a backhanded kind of. It's almost like a fake apology she gave to me, to Cardi B, because she talked about her daughter culture. But the take home message from all of this is that this really shows how bad and how far Nicki Minaj has fallen to stoop to this level. You know what I mean? And it doesn't stop there. Nicki Minaj continued with an almost disturbing now obsessive rant with Jay-Z. Now, we speculated, does she have a diss record on Jay-Z coming? And that could be in the works. But I just think now, looking at her posts on Jay-Z and Desiree Perez and all that, this is obsessive. And she didn't stop there. She went off on Offset. She went off on, I think, Quavo. She went off on, who was it? Rick Ross. She went off on The Breakfast Club. She went off on Gayle King. I mean, this is an epic rant of epic rants. And many people are comparing this to Kanye West. I don't think this is really the level of Kanye West. First of all, Kanye West does and has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I don't know what Nicki Minaj has been diagnosed with, but I would definitely say she needs to get checked out. You know what I mean? They say it's drug infused and she has a drug problem, and she probably does. And I think she does need rehab. You know what I mean? But the moral to the story is, this was more of a bad look on Nicki Minaj more than Cardi B. It's a bad look for female hip hop in general, but a bad look for Cardi B, and a bad look for female hip hop in general, but a bad look more for Nicki Minaj than Cardi B, because at least Cardi B has music out there and has a dope album, and this basically tarnishes Cardi's second album came out, which is doing very well. I think it sold over 205,000 the first week. You know what I mean? And it's just a bad look in general, And this is the part that really, in the end of the day, like for Nicki, this is where you need to get in the booth. If you feel a way Just go do a diss record. Make it a competition thing that I'm a better chick than you. But see, the thing about it is like, why is Nicki Minaj threatened? You know, she's the most successful female hip hop artist of all time, and it's not even close. And every time a woman with any type of buzz comes along, you know, she has to throw dirt on that woman and throw dirt on that woman fast. And it's like I said, I think really there's a deeper issue at play. I think Nicki realizes that she ain't what she was 10 years ago. The YMCMB empire is not what it is. You're not getting first dibs with all the hot level producers. You're not getting first dibs with all the top level features. They're going to other artists now. I mean, when YMCMB was on top, they had everybody from the likes of Jay-Z to Rick Ross to Future in his prime, all of these prime artists would jump on features with these guys. And now they're not it no more, And Cardi's doing the smart thing. Cardi knows how to play the politic game where people like her. So they want to work with her. And I think Cardi's actually going to go up and build from this. Despite what you think about her as an overall artist or using writers or what have you. But Nicki realizes, like, my time as the queen is not here no more. You know what I mean? And I think this is, it's like an insecurity thing. And her to Drake to Wayne showed this summer how insecure they were. I thought the last Twitter rant about Jay-Z was crazy and Rock Nation, but this takes the cake, and because you don't even have music to promote or put out there, you know what I mean? So what is the point of all of this? At the end of the day, she's just bigging up Cardi's music. I read somewhere this morning that Cardi B, I don't know if it's true or not, but not Cardi, I'm mixing up the two of these chicks. You could tell I'm not really into female hip hop like that. But anyway, I read somewhere that Nicki Minaj lost like 200,000 Instagram followers. That's what it was. So over and I don't know if it's true or not. I don't pay attention to this chick's Instagram or whatever, but it goes to show, like, look, she's losing fans, despite the barbs or what have you, And right now, it almost seems like Nicki is specifically just catering to barbs, which those women, men, men of a certain community, whatever it is, they're just robots. Anything that Nicki does or Nicki says, they bow down to. They are obsessed robots. They are just the definition of stance. So no matter what they do, and she's just catering to them just to hear herself talk, and they make her and empower her to feel good about herself, by saying these wild comments, because they're just going to go and dive in with that. I don't think Nicki's husband is doing a good job as a man, as far as, telling her to do the right thing and saying, like, look, you're going too far. You're bringing our family into this. And I don't respect him as a man. Why would you open yourself up to talk about your family this way? I mean, you're supposed to protect your woman, protect your child, and you're going to let this go on. You got to tell her to hold back. Like, look, this is a bad look for the family, what you doing. You know what I mean? So I think, this right here just goes to show how insecure she is as an artist. And I don't know what her next album is going to do, but you could say she's using this for the clout, to get people on her side or get people. But if you don't, I mean, she's hinted at a Jay-Z diss, but what? Do you have a Cardi B diss coming now? Which, if I'm her, I put out now. I put out now if you want to steal any momentum and build momentum for your next project, but there's no diss record. You know what I mean? So this is not on wax. This is not hip hop. This became personal. And when it gets to this level, this is where things get dangerous. You know what I mean? 50 Cent came out and said, look, this is not going to end well. Y'all two better piece it up. Because both of these chicks are connected to, certain crews with a street element to it. And who knows where this could go. So, that's just my spiel on that, as to, it just goes to show, how far she's come, because nobody's in really the room with her. You know what I mean? As far as success as a female artist. But you can tell she realizes she don't hit the same. And that brings me to Drake. You know what I mean? Which we really haven't had a chance to catch up on over the summer. So there was a Iceman Volume 3 that came out, I believe around Labor Day weekend. I really haven't kept up with Drake and the UMG case and all this other stuff really since this summer, where I think it was Which One dropped. And where we last left off, this man is still trying to promote Iceman. You know what I mean? And this is going to be his new album that is supposed to come out on they're saying October 31st. I don't know. This officially has become arguably the worst rollout I've ever seen of an album to come out with. His last Iceman Volume 3 live stream only got about 2 million views, which for him is, just to give you an example how weak that is. Nokia has been out for a while, but that got over close to 40 million views. Okay, probably more than that on different YouTube. Probably more than that when you think there are different versions of it on YouTube that you could click on. But he's got well over that many views, and he's got 31.5 million subs on his live stream. So what does that tell you? People really don't care about your live streams no more, dude. You know what I mean? They want the music. It's like, when's the album coming out? He had a whole summer to himself to drop this album. I thought he was going to drop the album July 4th weekend when he dropped Which One. But these songs, for lack of a better words, as far as Drake is concerned, were flops. What Did I Miss went to number 2 on Billboard and came out I want to say around I think this was around 4th of July weekend. This is 4th of July weekend or so. So Drake came out with that, you know what I mean? And really, in the end of the day, it came out and it dropped like a rock. And it really only got the attention because they knew it was about the battle. He was talking about people. He's going to talk about Kendrick. And Drake has now become that guy that is using the beef and using the UMG case of all things, using a lawsuit and the attention around that lawsuit to get energy for an album. And it's not a lot of energy. It's really not, because that song kind of came and went. And it was a decent song. Like I even, played it on my playlist. It wasn't too bad. Then which one came where he tried to get the energy that UK drill energy from Central C, and that song flopped. That song didn't do anything. Now he has a new single that came out from and was featured in the Iceman Volume 3 stream, Doghouse with Yeet. And just to let you all know, Yeet is a big artist among the I would say younger than Gen Z now. I don't know what the age gap, but let's just say he's big among 15 to 25-year-olds. You know what I mean? He's a big artist there. He does the rage hip hop, which is now a new subgenre of hip hop, which is big. And that song's nowhere to be found, dog. That song was a flop as well. So what does this tell you? Clearly Drake does not hit no more. He don't hit like he used to, and he knows that. I'm hearing he's struggling to sell some tickets out in Europe now. You know what I mean? He's not selling what he used to. You know what I mean? This has to be the weakest album rollout I've ever seen of a major artist. He's doing these live streams that have no point to them, with like 3 Pinocchios eating at a table with a message on a plate. And I don't know, he's trying to make an artistic reference and out of this, and it's failing. It's just not doing well. You know what I mean? And I don't know the point of this. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, just drop the album. You had a whole summer to yourself. I would have dropped this album literally when What Did I Miss drop. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even waited. I would have just seized that. But at the same time, Drake is coming off of his lowest sales ever. I only think he sold 220,000 the first week off of Sexy Songs for You. He's selling his lowest sales, first week sales of his career right now. And he is not the major label artist or the major artist he was, per se. Now, people are saying, well, 200,000, 220,000 the first week is pretty good compared to what was coming out recently. But if you're Drake and you're so far above everybody else, this clearly says you're just another mainstream artist right now. You're not immortal like you think you are with sales. You know what I mean? And he hasn't had a true number one record, which he was automatic for a number one just about every year. He hasn't had a true number one record in 2 years, which was First Person Shooter from All for the Dogs. So between the battle with Kendrick Lamar, between the label lawsuit, this definitely has had an effect on Drake. This definitely has put a dent, because he's struggling. Put it out there. He's struggling to put this album out. Whatever you want to say, like, this album should have been out. Now we'll see if it comes out on October 31st. But he's already previewed or sampled or shown over like 10 songs already, between the 3 singles and other songs. And my take on it is, I don't know if he really is just doing this just to test the waters. I think a lot of these are experimental for Drake, and he's testing the waters because he's not confident in putting out an album. I think he realizes and is afraid to put out an album because he thinks the fans out there, and he knows the fans out here don't receive him like they used to. So this dude is absolutely struggling to put this album out. And then there's a narrative out there that, well, UMG is holding him back. And see, I could tell people don't understand how major labels really work. Major labels aren't built to lose money, okay? They're not there to lose money at all. So, why would they purposely hold this man back? Just because, a lawsuit, which is totally separate from, the music that he has to put out because he works for them. And they are built to make more money off of him. Why would they purposely sabotage it? You know what I mean? As they say, in this, which I think is just a ridiculous lawsuit, but we'll get to that anyway. But at the same time, Drake is on every major playlist. He's getting the same hits that he gets, well, not the same energy that people gave him on YouTube, but he's all over YouTube. He's actually added live streams because he never live streamed to his previous albums, which is big among, younger hip hop listeners. So to me, he's getting just as much, if not more, promotion for this. And you can't help but say that, the lawsuit with certain fans and definitely the effect from Not Like Us in the battle has had an effect. I mean, it's easy to see the cause and effect between the two because he does not hit the same. But I'll even entertain the fact about this UMG lawsuit. Let's say, for argument's sake, UMG's not putting the energy that they used to in previous Drake albums into this Iceman project. Well, that's Drake's fault. Drake shouldn't have put the lawsuit out. I mean, you're an idiot to know that the minute you put out a lawsuit against your label, you know what I mean? Against a label that has done broken their back to put you out, and make you number one, you're in trouble, bro. Like, he's literally liable to get blackballed or blacklisted his entire career because people are not going to want to do business with him because the minute that he doesn't get what he wants, I'm going to sue the label. You know what I mean? And that's Drake's fault. He's to blame for that. If he really wanted to get a better label deal or negotiate a higher price with UMG, he should have done that behind the scenes. He easily should have done that behind the scenes. I don't know why you go public with that, And it's like, this is my whole thing about for those YouTubers and those people that talk about, the UMG lawsuit is going to be so landmark and it's pro artists and all of this. And you know which YouTubers you are. You people that root for Drake because you don't want to see the other guy win. You know who I'm talking about. So just ask yourself the question. UMG is purposely going to lose money. Okay, lose money to de-promote another artist or sabotage another artist by, affecting his fan base, which he may never get back, okay? Just in order so he would have a lower value so they can re-sign him, where they still can't recoup the money they've lost, even if they do sabotage his career. They still can't recoup that money if they've really put the proper business plan as they have in previous projects out. So it makes no sense for them to purposely devalue an artist on their label to lose money so they could sign him again. And see, here's the whole thing. If the artist ain't stupid either. Drake ain't stupid either. If he sees that, all right, I'll just fill out the rest of my contract. I'll do I'll do 3 greatest hits records. Boom. Contract done. I'm going to another label. Done. And it was rumored out there that he had a $500 million table on the deal with Sony, which I think helped distribute Sexy Songs for You. So what sense does this make? It makes no sense whatsoever. But I think what really is the problem, and this goes to the downfall of this whole thing, is Drake realizes he don't hit the same, and he's realized over the last several years from the attention that he's getting opposed to other artists and other mainstream artists. And I think he's realized, you know what? I need a way to explain away me falling off. You know what I mean? So I think this lawsuit and him putting it out there that they're trying to de-promote me is a way to explain why he don't hit the same like he did 4 or 5 years ago. Because Drake's prime really to me was, I would say 2009 to about 2015, to about when views dropped. And then he kind of got into that mid territory. But number ones kept him alive. The hits kept him alive. Now those hits are starting to become, a lot less common, and he realizes that. He realizes that he does not have the same energy stream wise, you know what I mean, that he used to. You know what I mean? Everybody goes back to this monthly listener thing. Well, he still's got 81. His monthly listeners has been about consistent, which is about 82 million a month. People don't understand, like, monthly listeners goes month to month. So it's however many subscribers you have or people listen within that month. And it's going to go up and down. It's going to fluctuate depending on what music you come out. For example, when Drake puts out another album, it probably will go up. But the thing to pay attention to is he has put out in the last year, between Sexy Songs for You and the songs, the Lucy songs from 100 Gigs to the new songs from Iceman, and his monthly listeners really haven't changed. They've been around, between 79 and 82 monthly listeners, which isn't big, which tells me he really doesn't have the pull he used to. He doesn't have that mega hit. He doesn't have that music that people are really going to want to listen. He doesn't have a Not Like Us in him anymore. So it goes to show. And all of this is just really these artists showing their insecurity. You know what I mean? As to why they aren't what they used to. And they're still decent artists, but they're just not what they used to. We don't even mention Wayne anymore because he is a total afterthought. People really forgot he put out an album on June 6th. People really forgot that. Like, that album was so bad, nobody talked about it. He's dropped out of the top 200. That's unheard of from a legendary icon artist. So this goes down to, and listen, all empires are built to fall. But this right now, I keep going back to saying, oh, well, this is the lowest point. This is the lowest point. Between Nicki, Drake, and Wayne, oh my God. Wow, how the mighty have fallen is all I got to say. It's just crazy. You know what I mean? I just don't get how these guys really think that. And the crazy thing about it is they're really upset that, people have the audacity, you know what I mean, to not support them the way they used to. But see, this is the thing. This goes on the artist. It goes to show that, these artists are not as creative as you think they are. Drake is trying to jump on every wave he can to stay afloat. I'm going to tell you, and watch this. I would not be surprised that him and Young Thug do a collab project coming up, because Young Thug, he's struggling himself, since he came out of jail, is the only one really advocating for this guy and some of these Atlanta trap guys. So watch out. They're going to do a collab project to kind of rekindle the energy of what was 5, 6, 7 years ago. But We'll see. And we'll see how Iceman does. This is leaning more and more to this album being a disappointment to a flop, but we'll see. I think Drake took the wrong route with this album completely, and I don't think it's really gonna be what he anticipates. I don't see it. I think it's going to get under 200,000 its first week. I'll be on record as saying it will get under 200,000 its first week if Iceman drops in this state, because he doesn't have a real mega hit to recapture that energy to get the fan base interested in him. I think people are tired of Drake. People are tired of his bitching and complaining. This lawsuit definitely made him look like a Karen and made him look soft. And the real hip hop crowd has totally turned their back on this dude. So we'll see. But I don't see nothing more than 180, 190K first week for Drake, for this Iceman, as it currently stands. But we'll see. We'll see about this. But tell me what you think. Another epic downfall moment for Nicki Minaj, an epic crash out. Drake struggling with Iceman and Lil Wayne. Are you on a milk carton? Where are you? An album? Where was that album again? Album was the name of that thing? Carter something? Wayne, where you at? You know what I mean? Like nothing. So the downfall of YMCMB. You tell me what you think. Can this once mighty empire of iconic artists, can they make a comeback? You tell me. Check out for some upcoming content. I got some other videos coming up. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. Spread the word. Share. Feel free to share with your friends or what have you. And we got more exciting content coming up. We're trying to start up a monthly hip hop review group with some of my esteemed colleagues, that you've seen, and also Reese the Funeral Man. So stay tuned for that. We got some exciting things coming up, and enjoy the rest of your day. All right, peace.